Canucks fans, are you feeling the tension? As the clock ticks down to free agency, there's a cloud of uncertainty hanging over one of our top scorers. With whispers of a big decision looming, could we be witnessing the final days of his tenure in Vancouver? Stay tuned as we dive into the latest buzz that could change the landscape of our beloved team. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like the video to keep up with all things Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks are in a precarious position right now, and the comments from Jim Rutherford regarding Brock Boeser's contract situation have sent fans into a tailspin. As we approach the agency-free period in July, the Canucks face a monumental decision. Do they trade Boeser, re-sign him, or risk losing him for nothing? It's a lot to unpack. Elliotte Friedman recently shared some insights on the Donnie and Dolly show, indicating that while both the team and Boeser seem to want to continue their partnership, there hasn't been much movement toward a contract extension as the NHL's roster freeze looms. It's a waiting game, and in this business, waiting can be risky. Friedman mentioned, "There's always a risk when you say, 'Let's see how this year goes.'" The Canucks need to understand that if they want to keep Boeser, they'll have to pay up. But here's where it gets tricky. Nick Kyprios reported that Boeser is looking for an 8-year extension with an average annual value exceeding $8 million. That's a hefty price tag, and one that could make the Canucks think twice. Boeser isn't just any player. He's a former 40-goal scorer and plays a crucial role alongside JT Miller. His playoff performances have solidified his reputation as a clutch player. However, the Canucks seem to be preparing for different outcomes should negotiations stall. Pierre LeBrun reported that the team is exploring contingency plans, which raises a lot of questions. Rick Dhaliwal added in his report that the Canucks' search for a winger isn't necessarily about replacing Boeser, but rather preparing for what could happen if an agreement isn't reached. As the season unfolds, Boeser's performance could heavily influence the team's final decision. So far this season, he has played in 24 games, scoring 8 goals and adding 11 assists for a total of 19 points. These numbers are decent, but not quite what you'd expect from a player of his caliber. With the Canucks currently holding a record of 16-9-6, they're in a solid position, sitting in the hunt for a wildcard spot in the Western Conference. But here's where my concern lies. If the Canucks fail to secure Boeser, what does that mean for the chemistry of the team? The impact of losing a player like him could be detrimental, not just on the ice, but also in the locker room. Fans rightfully worry about how the situation could unravel, and I can't help but share in that anxiety. You have to wonder, is this the best approach? I find myself torn on this issue. The organization clearly values Boeser, but the financial implications of a long-term deal are significant. Canucks fans, we need to brace ourselves. The team's future could be at stake here, and the decisions made in the coming months will echo throughout the franchise for years to come. I want to hear from you. What do you think? Are the Canucks making the right call by holding off on a contract extension for Boeser, or should they secure him now before it's too late? I genuinely want to know your thoughts and frustrations, so drop your comments below. The NHL trade freeze is upon us, and it seems like the Vancouver Canucks are feeling the pressure to make some moves. We just witnessed a couple of significant trades involving potential options for the Canucks, and it raises some interesting questions about the direction of this team. First off, let's talk about Kaapo Kakko heading to the Seattle Kraken. I mean, here's a guy who was the 2nd overall pick in 2019, and now he's been shipped off after being a healthy scratch just last week. The New York Rangers got back Will Borgen, a 3rd-round pick, and a 6th-round pick in 2025. Borgen, a right-shot defenseman, could have been a solid fit for the Canucks' blue line, especially considering their current struggles on defense. Standing at 6'3", he's got the size and the skating ability to make an impact. The Rangers clearly needed to address their defensive woes, especially with Jacob Trouba's decline, and turning Kakko into a capable defenseman like Borgen is a savvy move on their part. But what does this mean for the Canucks? With Borgen now off the table, they're left searching for other top-4 defensemen. It's frustrating because, as fans, we see the need for improvement, and players like Borgen could have been solutions. You have to wonder if management is feeling the same urgency as the fan base. Are they doing enough to find the right pieces? Then there's Alexandre Carrier, who's been traded to the Montreal Canadiens for Justin Barron. Carrier is another right-shot defenseman with solid puck-moving abilities, and I can't help but think he would have been a good addition to our back end. Sure, he's a little smaller than what the Canucks might prefer at 5'11", but he's got experience and could have been an upgrade over some of our current options. The Predators are banking on Barron, who still needs to prove himself. It's a low-risk move for them, but it leaves us with fewer options as we look to bolster our defense. With both Borgen and Carrier off the market, the urgency is on for the Canucks to make something happen. Reports indicate they're stepping up their efforts to secure a top-4 defenseman. You have to like the ambition there, especially with Jim Rutherford at the helm. But are they looking in the right places? I can't help but feel a mix of hope and frustration as a fan. What do you all think? Are you confident in the Canucks' approach, or do you feel they're missing out on key opportunities? I'm honestly a bit torn here. On one hand, I appreciate the aggressive mindset to improve the team, but on the other, watching these players leave for other teams makes me anxious about our own roster management. And here's the kicker. As we head closer to the trade deadline, the pressure is mounting. Can the Canucks find the right defensive pieces to make a real impact? This isn't just about this season. It's about building for the future. Fans are invested, and we want to see progress. So, what are your thoughts? Do you believe the Canucks will be able to land a game-changing defenseman before the deadline? I want to hear all your expectations and frustrations in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on all things Canucks, make sure to hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any crucial updates. Let's keep this conversation going as we navigate this critical time for our team.